Capping International Women's Month, we tackled the call for more women directors in publicly listed companies and boards in the Philippines, championing diversity, enabling companies to be more profitable. She is the chairperson of the Committee on Partnerships of Next Gen Organization of Women Corporate Directors. She also chairs the Tax Committee of the Management Association of the Philippines. With us now on Thought Leaders, please welcome the managing and founding partner of Mata-Perez, Tamayo, and Francisco, attorney Euney Mata-Perez. So good to have you with us, Euney. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite. It's a privilege.
Take it first on the topic of diversity, because it means many things. And I know that you said that diversity is an advocacy of Next Gen Organization of Women Corporate Directors.
Now CDS.
But you also nuance it by saying it is not about women's rights.
Oh, no, it's not. The board diversity is actually a concept of putting into the board different mindsets, different mentalities because of age, gender, and qualifications, with the main objective of putting minds together. Better decision makings will come about, and of course, different experiences will help the organizations and the company achieve its objectives better.
And the objective is to make a business profitable.
Business profitable, of course, for the stakeholders. And of course, you know, a company, the powers of the company rests in the board. Okay, the board of directors exercise the powers, conducts the business. So they perform the people composing the board perform a very important function, and will be the key drivers of any company. So putting together a very good board is very critical for every organization.
Can't women's rights also be good business sense?
It is, of course, in a way, but it's not just women's rights. It's also because of what women can bring into the table, the different perspective that women bring into the table, and is the one that contributes to the better board. It's not a right to be in the board. You have to be qualified, of course.
And you've gone through that journey early on, 20 years before you got to be who you are. You already knew of the opportunity to take this journey and to become that woman on the board or in the board of many organizations right now in the Philippines. Could you talk us through that whole journey of having started as a young tax practitioner?
Yes,
and
maybe
the owner
you know
of your
what?
own law firm.
I can even backtrack if you don't mind, because
How
I was
far out?
because I was when I was in high school, I was elected as the girl representative to the central board of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, and at that time our chair was Helena Benitez, and I saw her run a board of 30 women, and how she ran the board, how she presided. She was very amazing. So I think that gave me an idea. Then, of course, when I became a young partner as a lawyer, I knew that directorship is an option for me because of my background. I am a CPA, I have a business sense, I can read financial statements, and I'm a lawyer at the same time. And I know that I could bring so much to the table, but I also need training. So I was conscious about that, so I enrolled in some professional development program for directors, even 20 years ago, before I even had much board experience at that time. Yes.
But it took one woman to let another woman know that it can be done by most women.
It can be done by most women. And in fact, the good thing now is that there's really a move or clamor for more women directors in boards, okay, worldwide. Okay, worldwide, in fact, there are countries which really push more women directors by setting up quotas, like the Nordic countries, Norway, Spain, France. They require at least 40% of the boards to be women. In the Philippines, it's just still policy, but there's also that awareness already.
I was just looking at the statistics there, double digit for the Norwegian countries. Here in Malaysia, in this area of the world, Malaysia requires at least one lady director.
One lady director for PLCs, publicly listed. Yes.
Companies.
Malaysia is the first in Southeast Asia. Surprisingly, they're very much ahead of us. And I even understand that move is just the beginning. They're also doing more moves in their Bangko Sentral and in their government. So So
Well,
that's institutionalized for them for now.
what can we learn from them, though? I mean, they're mostly a Muslim population. What have we learned so far from what they're doing? And would that apply to the Philippines, where we are
I
now?
think what we should learn is number one is their openness to the idea, such that they are legislating it or putting it into regulation. For me, that's the remarkable thing. Meaning there is the conscious effort to give more opportunities for women in a Muslim country. Okay, and that's admirable. So in the Philippines, we have not even reached that stage of putting it into regulation. The SEC just encourages PLCs to have a diverse board, but that's so far we have gone through. So that's why in now CD, Next Gen Organization of Women Corporate Directors, we promote election to boards, election of more women to corporate boards, not just in publicly listed companies, but also companies vested with public interest. So that is our main advocacy at this point.
And how do you think that's coming across to the Securities and Exchange Commission? As you say, there is no policy just yet, but they do recommend that there would be more women in boards.
Yes,
How
they
is your efforts now coming across to the SEC? Are they now willing to maybe make a policy down the line?
Well, hopefully, we hope for that, hopefully they will set it out as a clear policy. Well, right now, there's already a policy for board diversity. Let me clarify that. We have a policy. SEC has a policy, but it's like a recommendatory they are recommending that PLCs adopt such a policy. So if there is no penalty yet if the corporations don't follow it, so it's a recommendatory effort.
How come they can't make the jump, though, from recommendatory to
Well,
making it a policy like Malaysia has?
I really don't know why they can't, but hopefully they will. But because there's also some controversy about quotas. We call these quotas. When you require a certain number of percentage of women into boards, that's still some people think that it's too much, then and you shouldn't be qualified in the first place. So that is still there's an ongoing debate on whether quotas are really good. No. But what we have seen is that in countries which adopted quotas, the movement to have more women in the boards really spurred forward, meaning it pushed the movement forward. So for me, whether it would be good, if you will ask me personally, to have quotas. Really.
But if you ask President Trump, he'll say, no quotas, we'd rather do merit-based, because he's already promoted merit, excellence, and intelligence in the workplace. This is in line with his scrapping of the diversity,
Correct,
equity,
yes.
and inclusion policies, and it's really having a strong impact across all organizations, companies in Asia, Europe, and the Middle
Because
East.
I think merit is a given, qualification is also a given. Meaning, you shouldn't be in a board just because you are a woman. You should be in a board because of your qualification and merit. So I think the danger probably is that it becomes an entitlement. I think that because of the quota, then it becomes an entitlement to people, and then people think they're entitled to it or to the position, even if they're not qualified. That's the danger. But for me, bottom line is you have to be qualified. So to promote more women electors is really to encourage women to be more qualified, or to look for these women who are qualified, so that they will see that they have these opportunities for themselves.
Well, talk to us about being qualified, because early on you worked that out yourself. You've tried to enroll in trainings, you made sure you got the right mentors, but you kind of sought it out. It's not like it was there readily available to become board worthy. So what does someone have to do then to get to be board worthy in this day and age when there's a lot of awareness that women should be represented more in boards?
Well, number one, you have to be good at what you're doing, okay? Because that is what you will bring to the table, to the board.
In any kind of industry?
In any kind of industry, whether you're into marketing, whatever, you have to have your own expertise, okay? Develop that early on. And then, of course, you need the icing on the cake. You need to know what are the real functions and duties of a director, what what is corporate governance, what, these things may not come into your day-to-day work. So be good at what you're doing, and then cap it up with the training that you need to understand. Number one is really understand the role of directors, because it's a very critical role. Understand the duties, also understand the potential liabilities, like, so, and then but that doesn't come just by reading. Sometimes you need to go into training and expose yourselves. So it's really awareness, being good at yourself, and then looking out there for opportunities, trainings, and of course networking. Meaning, I do believe we have so many qualified women directors. Filipinos are so good, Filipinas are so good, but maybe they're not just conscious, so we just don't know who and where they are. So that's where networking will come into play. And then because you also have to build a name for yourself, because you can be so good but you are not known, or nobody knows you're qualified, then you wouldn't be in the roster of candidates.
You mentioned to us the role of the director and how critical it is, but what is it to you? Having wanted in this career journey of yours to be a woman in a board?
For me, it is really a place also to contribute, as I said, to bring your qualifications to the table. Like, I became a director of the Rural Bank of Rizal in Zamboanga del Norte, and I am from there, but I thought it's more of giving back to the place and bringing what I can on the table. So you have to have that attitude that you are there for a purpose and to help the company. And for me, that's those are the rewards. The rewards, the fulfillment you get is when you see that you also help the organization. You make people think, okay, and they can also, because they know they're there, and they can also consider your views, and your views are being considered. That's fulfillment, right?
And what if they don't? How do you react? You've spoken, but you were not considered.
Oh yeah. If you're a minority, and if you are, but you've spoken, put it on record. Put it in the minutes that you objected to something, because at the end of the day, you also have a duty of diligence as a director. Meaning you have to do your job also well. You cannot just be negligent. You have to study. And if you think there are, and especially now in our corporation code, the revised corporation code, there are penalties that could be imposed on directors.
Could you weigh in on us some of the myths that we have here? The directors of boards have to be old and senior. True or false?
False.
False.
Yes, I'd like to. Of course, diversity. I think I mentioned earlier, it's not just gender, it's also age. And I do acknowledge there's wisdom in age. Okay, we respect our seniors. I am a senior already. But we also need dynamism. And, the young people have different mindsets. We also need the positivism and, the mindset from where they are, right? So that I wouldn't agree that it's just the old. In fact, that might work against the company, because if the company wants dynamism and wants to especially if you want to target young markets, how do you know what your markets are or what your markets want if your board is not even sensitive to them? So it has to be a mix.
So how do we find qualified folks in that age range, not considered to be senior, but they have wisdom in the industry that they're exposed to, like, let's say, artificial intelligence for once, or maybe even digital transformation? These are industries that are very much, into the digital natives, maybe exposure, or at least their mindsets are of that, kind of setup. The ecosystem is such that it's set up for the young.
That's where networking will come into play, and organizations. AI, we have organizations on AI. We have the Institute of Corporate Directors. We have the Now CD. The organization, if people join organizations and contribute, then they also want two things. They learn, and at the same time, they get to be seen and heard. And that's how to get known. But now, actually, there are some formal, if you ask me the formal process of looking for independent directors, some companies, they write organizations. Like they write MAP, management, and say, do you have, can you recommend directors? Or they write now CD. So, in fact, I think in governance, there are additional points if you really searched your independent director. Not just because an independent, not just because she's the friend of the owner. No. So real independent directors are sometimes searched. So it also starts with the company itself. If the company is really conscious and wants to look for good people, then they will search. Just like the way executives are searched, but not yet that way. So they search. They do search for good independent directors.
So what's the most searched right now? What's in demand as an independent director, and in which industries?
It really depends. No, it depends on the industry. Like banks, they want you to have experience in treasury, real estate. So the industries also look at qualifications that they need for themselves. Like if it's a renewable energy company, then they would like somebody who is also probably who was into similar business before or had similar exposure, something like that. Okay, so uh, independence is one. As I said, there's also board experience, and they also different experiences also contribute to board diversity. So it's not just gender, it's not just age, it's also experience. So different ages, different genders, and different experiences contribute to board diversity.
Here's another one. True or false? You need to be a good auditor to be a board director.
Of course not. Because, of course, you need probably one or two auditors because there's an audit committee. But, of course not. But it's good to understand numbers. You have to understand numbers or financial statements probably.
Well, I only ask because it appears from anecdotal evidence that a lot of the women in the board get to be auditors, the chairpersons of the audit committee,
Because usually,
rather than be the chairperson themselves of the whole, which is few and far between.
Yes. Because generally the rule is the chair of the audit committee should be an independent director, or the audit committee should be chaired by an independent director. And of course, companies would prefer somebody with audit experience to chair that committee, but only for that particular committee. There's also other committees like compensation committee, the risk oversight committees, so or related party transactions committee. So all these committees, the overall chair of the board, of course, can also be a woman, but generally the overall chair of the board is, of course, is elected by the majority shareholders. So that's why usually it's the patriarch or somebody very respectable, because he also has a different role of really putting the board in check and steering the board to meet the objectives of the company.
Are we not anywhere near a matriarch?
Oh no, we can be.
Because in other countries it's been an issue. There are a lot who end up in the committee chair, but not really the chair role, the chairperson's role.
Well, maybe that's still a reality, okay? But we have seen very outstanding women chairs as well. We have seen them, yeah. They're very excellent women. I can name a few, not just because they're daughters of owners, like Cora de la Paz, So as I circulate in this circle, you really get amazed, and you meet women whom you admire, and you admire how they think, how they work. They're very professional, of course. They're very intelligent, but they're admirable.
So life doesn't end at 60. Because this is like the received understanding. But there has to be self-awareness as well that, yes, you can be part of something bigger.
Yes.
And this is the
maybe
Cora
the
de la
other
Paz's
challenge when you're younger is that you have so many things on your plate. That's probably the challenge of the younger people. And that's probably what discourages them from doing that so much, because they are busy with so many things on their plate. And when you are senior, you are more time more time for these things. So that probably leads to that conclusion. But I don't think, while there is that mentality, but that's not entirely correct, no, that you need seniors to be in the board. In fact, the challenge probably is to get more juniors or
Correct.
more younger people into the board. So
Busy as they are, as you mentioned. So how do you encourage them then? Is there a network that actually draws them in and makes them aware, as you have 20 years ago, that there is an opportunity
well, now
here?
CD, okay, we are promoting awareness to women and to younger women of these opportunities. So we are creating now a like associate members, and we will encourage membership there. So then mentoring will come into play and exposure to various trainings as well. So that's one of the mandates of Now CD, to encourage younger women to become directors themselves in the future, or maybe in the near future.
So is that ratio changing, the membership of Now CD, a little bit more younger, maybe 50-50?
Yes, we
Down
will,
the
meaning
line,
we
is
are
that the
encouraging,
target?
because we were encouraging younger women to join us as associate members. So that will definitely change the landscape of the membership. So it will also be, we're excited about that. We expect that it will add dynamism to the company, and it will also provide our members opportunity to give back by mentorship with to these young ladies.
And you've become a member yourself in 2021. That was at the height of the pandemic. So
Yes.
you've been a member for 4 years.
Yes.
And at that time, correct me if I'm not mistaken, the target was, or at least 17% are women are represented in boards.
No, that's a study. The study is, I think, in 2021, 2022, that in the Philippines, only 17% in boards are women.
And that the target in 2025 is to go 25%.
Yeah, so I think that number increased a bit to about 20% at present.
So we're a little further away then from the 25%
That's actually
for this year.
the worldwide average is actually near that number. Okay, but Now CD's aim is to increase that to 30%. So that's the goal.
So the timeline has changed.
Yes, the targets we have as target, meaning we want to push more women directors in boards. So we want to increase the current number to hopefully about 30%. And of course,
By when?
The target is this year or next. That's very challenging.
That's right. That's very challenging.
That's very challenging. That's very challenging.
That's a huge jump.
Yes, that's a huge jump. But I think the leadership was saying, if we have to aim high. Okay, we aim high, and we'll see. We'll see where we get.
But you're not going it alone, because I know that you're part of a bigger consortia here.
Yes,
under PhilWen.
PhilWen. Because
So you're
there are
one
also
of 5.
other women organizations, like promoting women executives, women directors, and PhilWen is a consortium of 5 of these women organizations. Now CD is just one of the members. So there is awareness, and at least there is movement. There are efforts in this organization to mentor, and hopefully these are also networking opportunities. They provide networking opportunities for members. Because I said, again, it starts with awareness of women, that there are these opportunities. And then you probably need to work on yourself. So you probably need to, a mentor will greatly help. And then you go to a group that will also help you, And as they say, when you meet beautiful and successful people, you also, imbibe their positivity. So, I always feel that each time I meet very remarkable individuals, especially women, that when you admire and say, oh, I want to be like her, and hopefully I'll be like her. So it also it opens your mind, that there's so much opportunities out there, and we cannot let, even responsibilities or whatever hold us back. Of course, we have to manage our lives. We cannot be leaders out there when we cannot manage our homes, right? So
exactly, which is what I wanted to know, because you're a parent, and
yes.
you've done what you have, you own your own firm, and you are a leader in many, many ways. How did you manage to do that, and at the same time mentor other women to follow your route or their own passions?
There's always a time for everything. Of course, when your children are younger, you spend really more time with them. And fortunately, in the Philippines, I would like to say we have help. We have help, and I had very good house help. So I owe them a lot. You know, I couldn't have done what I have done if nobody was helping me at home, you know, with raising my children also. But fortunately, in the Philippines, we have help, so we should be grateful for that. You know. And of course, support of family, support of your husband matters a lot. And with my children, I also really rely on professional help if needed. You know. So it's really you. It takes a village probably for a woman to succeed, but we are fortunate, no, that we have that here in our country. We have those.
And that your journey had been a little bit different from most parents because you have and are raising a special child.
Oh yes, I have our eldest Gino. He is in the spectrum. He has autism. So shall I say he even the key really is early intervention and acceptance of the parents and awareness, no? And seeking the right professional help and putting in a good therapy team, whatever, giving him the best that you could give and you could afford, unfortunately. So the best therapy, the best training, supporting him. But all of that starts with acceptance of a parent and recognition of what he needs. Because a child with special needs has special needs. And you have to address those needs. But fortunately, we also have very good therapists here. And you're amazed how the child could improve if the right program is in place. Gino was zero language when he was 2 years old. Zero. Doesn't even say mama. And he learned how to talk through his speech therapist. But he's verbal now. He even has a blog. He writes. So when we travel, he writes about it and he blogs. So nabubuko ako now. We kept eating KFC chicken. You see? So it's really accepting, facing the challenge that you have, seeking the right help, putting in the right people, and just doing your best, no? Just doing your best as a parent. Like any other parent, we just do our best.
And in there, you found an advocacy and that leadership, trying to find a team to help Gino. You've created an advocacy yourself in autism.
Oh yes, I'm a member of Autism Society. I'm not so active though, but I do write about it from time to time. But it has also opened my world, and in fact, opened the world of my other children, because Gina's brother became an occupational therapist. Okay. So you know, it's our life. They are exposed to it, and it's just beautiful that how God put things together, and how He supports you in all your challenges.
And also your husband, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
you've been part of that team as
Yes,
well.
of course.
How important is the help of the other gender, the loved ones, our husbands,
Of
our
course, it's very
partners?
important because we cannot do it alone. We cannot raise our children alone. So we also need their support and understanding, especially when you're so busy. So that's key. That's key. Women, for us to fly, we also need to be able to spread our wings, right? So we cannot do that alone. So, but we cannot also let others clip our wings. That's also very important. We should also recognize that.
We draw that parallelism now to the corporate world, and to realize that there really aren't many male mentors to women mentors. How can we then nurture men helping women?
Male mentors may be good also.
But the LinkedIn study says that it's the reason why we don't really have much mentors is because the men are mentoring men, the male mentors.
Correct. But there's also this thought that maybe we also need the men to mentor the women, because so that we know what, you know, we know what they're thinking and how they're thinking, you know. Of course, I still believe there are there are differences in the sexes, right? We cannot be like men, and men cannot like be like women. But what's important is we also have something to bring to the table, and we can be able to work with them, and even be better than them, you know. So I always say that as long as you, how shall I say, just you use your head, think, and be sincere with what you're doing, then you will earn their respect. You know, so we cannot also be entitled as women. You know? Do not also think that, oh, they will understand because I'm leaving because I have to attend to my child. They will understand. They won't. They won't. But you will have to say, but I will take care. I have obligations. I will come back, and then I'll do my job. But I will leave because I need to attend a PTC. But I'll come back and I'll deliver it tonight. So it's professionalism at the same. But the world has changed actually. People are now more compassionate with women than before. But still, as I said, we should still work hard. No? In fact, harder. As I always say, as women, we cannot just be intelligent. We even have to look good. You know, you can't go to a meeting without putting on makeup and looking, sloppy, because they will think you're sloppy. But the men, they go there, they wear their barongs, they're good. So we exert more effort. I think so. So we work harder.
Do you think that's unfair? I mean, we are possibly maybe seen in the light of how she performed. It's more of like, show me how good you are, rather than maybe a male counterpart who would be chosen for the job because of the potential rather than the performance.
I think that is still there. Meaning, I think, unfortunately, we have to prove ourselves more. I would still like to believe that. The world is changing. Okay, as I said, recognition of women is rising, but it doesn't stop us from becoming better and good at what we're doing. At the end of the day, it's really who you are, no? What you bring to the table. Okay, I have not experienced that though, competing against a man, and I always say, in everything, it's like doing your best, and I mentioned it already. Maybe this time, authenticity, right? Not just because you want to impress people, not you want to aggrandize people, or it's just a number thing. No, they have to trust you because you will deliver. So you will deliver. That takes a lot of work and hard work, and you have to pay the price for that.
How much time do you think the Philippines needs to actually just get rid of the notion that women always have to prove themselves better and harder? I mean, can't we just be like equals? Like you say something and you're heard. And it's not because you're a woman, but it's because of what you said. And no one has to fight over anything.
I really don't know the answer, but we slid in the gender
Yes, we
gap
have.
index. We were top 10 in 2018, and now we're 25. Also, but there were reasons for that. I think less women ministers. I think less women in government also contributed to that, and pay gap, pay gap. So I hope we will improve. Well, women will be more aware of their opportunities, because even in law school, there are more women students than men. During my time, there were only 10, 15%, 20% women. So you could see that more women are in law school, more women are in. So hopefully in our lifetime, we will see that. No? But I will still like to promote merit. I also agree in merit and qualification, not entitlement. No? To be in the board, not because I also don't want to be in a board just because I want to fill in a number, You wouldn't like that as well, right? So you have to be there because they think you are qualified. So what I would like to promote is for women to work on themselves. Work on themselves while they're young, because work for training. I always tell this to my associate: don't work for money. Work, especially for the first 10 years of your career. Don't work for money. Work for training, and go to the sweatshop. And once you're trained, you'll have options. You will have options. So I hope the young people are conscious of that. No? And in any profession, whether you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you go to a sweatshop and then be trained. Then once you're trained, develop your expertise, and that's what you bring to the table when you become a director.
What enabling policies then would you recommend if you're not for quotas, you're for merit-based? What should the SEC do then if they're now recommendatory in policy making?
Let me correct myself. I am for merit, but I'm also for quotas. Yes, but maybe not 40%. Maybe like Malaysia, one woman director. I would go for it just to make the companies more exert conscious effort to look for women directors. I told you, and also open opportunities for women as a start. That's my personal view. Okay, that's very controversial. Even in now CD, we have different views. But I was thinking, knowing the Philippines, it will take a while or longer for us to catch up if we don't have clear regulations. You know, we are like once it's in regulation, then companies will obey, or supposedly, and they will exert more effort to look for women directors. That's just what I like in quotas. Of course, we have to, the counterpart of it is that then we should have more women qualified to be directors. And that's probably where the organizations could help, you know, like now CD and all these institutions who provide training could help, like also the Institute of Corporate Directors. So it will spur efforts to promote women directors for me.
But if it makes business sense, then why wait for a
It will
policy?
also make business
So
sense.
if they can show that, I mean, if you've seen it as a board director yourself, how much business sense does it make to have a
woman.
diverse board? And yes, and to have a woman in board. Could
There
you
has
give
been
us some
studies
metrics?
on that already. There's been studies that, you know, having a diverse board is not just having a diverse board, period. It is actually supposed to bring into different mindsets that will lead to better decision making, that will make the company more profitable, improve governance, mitigate against groupthink, you know, improve more critical thinking and discussions in the board. So that's the main objective or the main benefits of a diverse board, actually. So it's not just because you want a diverse board. You want a better board. Okay, you want a better thinking board. And there have been studies that having a diverse board leads to a better thinking and performing board. That's the essence, actually.
The weight is in the shoulders of that one woman in the board when groupthink happens.
Oh, well.
How do you break that then when you get all the gentlemen on the table deciding on something that you're not in favor of? What do you do?
Speak out. Okay, one is speak out, make sure you're heard, explain yourself, and don't just stay quiet. You're not expected to be quiet.
Do you have a specific example that's happened to you and that you've learned from and that they've learned from?
Yeah, you really just speak your mind. How do you convince somebody to your position? Is to really make them see that there's a good side in your post, or you see something also that needs to be done, or you saw something that wasn't done, or you see something on how it's to be improved, or a process that needs to be improved. Actually, even in the board that I sit, a lot of what I bring to the board is also my experience as a managing partner in running my firm. So it also become, I also, by being a lawyer, I'm also a tax lawyer, so I also bring that to the table. So it's really you, okay? But at the same time, you have to speak out and convince themselves of the good things or the good side of your position.
And keep your cool. Once you lose your cool, then that's it.
Oh, that's it.
So what do you teach those mentees that you have in the organization?
There's always
right
a
now?
rule. The moment you become emotional or you're angry, talo ka. So even if you're angry, don't show it. And And that's the art of negotiations, it takes a lot not to lose your cool.
Have
It's
you lost yours?
not in a board setup. Not in a board. I don't do that in a board. But sometimes you could be a little bit mataray a bit. It can be, but no, it's really more of. Uh, uh, I just saw this video of Audrey Hepburn, and she said, strength doesn't come in uh, being not being feminine. You can still be strong. It's very clear statement for that. You can be strong and be graceful at the same time, and she's such a very graceful lady, far from who we are. But it tells you that strength doesn't come in shouting, doesn't come in raising your voice. It comes in clear collective thinking with sense. And when they will see, oh, she's making sense, then they will start listening to you. But if you just comment something that's also so, oh my God, what is she saying? So also be careful with that. Don't just say something because you want to say something. So as I said, it comes to what you bring to the table, and that you make sense, and you are there for the good of the company. Okay, so all those formulas, all those elements should fall into place and earn the respect. Then bottom line is respect. If they respect you as a woman, they will listen to you.
You mentioned earlier you turned 60.
Oh, yes.
And that you tried many new things at 60, so it's never too late.
It's never too late, and it's never too late. And in fact, you should think that, we also get reminded, of course, of our, infinite finiteness. No? Then it also makes you think, what else should I do? What else should I do before my time runs out? So that I also have that mentality. So I am always scared that at the end of my life, I'll say, oh my, have you done this? And I'll say, no, I haven't. So that also makes me think to do more, because I may not have enough or much time left.
That's why you went bull running.
Yes, I did my first marathon at 60.
Wow.
My first full marathon at 60, but I got a coach. So you need professional help. You have to acknowledge that in many aspects of our life, we also need the professionals to help us. Just as we also help others in our profession, as lawyers, as a tax lawyer, as a corporate lawyer, I help my clients. But there are also aspects in our lives when we have to be humble enough. And I need help here, okay? Help.
And the golf?
Oh, I also have a coach.
You do?
I also
Okay.
have a coach. Because also asking for help, or even acknowledging you don't understand, is key. I always say, I don't understand what you're saying. If there's somebody, that means, can you repeat it, please? Or can you explain it to me further? Because it's also, that's part of it. You have to acknowledge if you don't understand, then try to understand. And if you cannot understand it in the boardroom, then maybe can explain to me after the meeting. So I always think there are very technical aspects of a business that a director may not see, because sometimes you are not into that business before. But you have to always try to learn and also accept what you don't understand, and then work at that. No? Try to understand. Study, read, ask people to explain to you. Because for me, understanding is key. It's very key, even in my work. The more I understand the problem of my client, I think I solve the problem halfway. The rule,
Very true.
knowing
Yeah.
your enemy is winning the battle halfway. Understanding the problem is probably also solving the problem halfway. Yeah, so.
For those half understanding what we've just talked about and had been piqued, the interest getting into a board setting, what would you tell them in maybe a minute? Whether they're women or maybe men supporting women, girls, ladies, growing up.
Well, ladies, there are many opportunities out there. And we need to bring our expertise to the table as directors to contribute to the board's diversity, and eventually the board's proper thinking, and hopefully the business of the companies. We have so much talent out there. There's so much talent out there, and be mindful of these opportunities. At the same time, be conscious of what needs to be done on yourself. Okay, work on yourselves, expose yourselves, uh, and at the same time, seek mentors, seek networks. Believe that there's abundance in life. You have to have that mentality. We're not malas. We have many opportunities, and hopefully these opportunities will open up to us, will show themselves to us as we continue on working on ourselves. So we in now CD, we promote, we would like to encourage more women directors in Philippine boards. That is our thrust, our mandate, and it starts with awareness of our talents and our gifts, and of course the opportunities out there.
I'm convinced life starts at 60.
It does.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Such a
Euney.
privilege.
You too. Thank you
I hope
very much.
this was helpful.
Very much so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Euney Mata-Perez, joining us here on Thought Leaders. Catch us again next Thursday, 9 p.m. Philippine Standard Time on One News. You can also check out the long conversation on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And if you haven't done so, like or follow my social media pages. I'm Cathy Yang, and this is Thought Leaders.